Hi, welcome to another episode of Gold Bazan. This is Pasha Hajan speaking. Today, I'll be joined by two other directors of Gold Bazan, Babak Queiroz and Pejman Pars, and our dear friend Amir Hashemi Mogaddam, former Team Melli player and Esteghlal player. We'll be discussing the two friendly matches that Iran played against Tunisia and Morocco, about the benefits, about what we thought about the lineup, about the tactical formations under Queiroz, what's in store for us, and whatnot. We discuss about a variety of things. As always, we appreciate the support. Thank you so much for even sending us your questions. We answered the best as we could. Enjoy this latest episode of Gol Bazan. Hi, welcome to another episode of Gold Bazan. This is Pasha Hajian speaking. I'm joined by two directors of Gold Bazan, Pejman Pars and Babak Queiroz. And today we have our dear friend on, Mr. Amir Hashemi Mogaddam. Mr. Hashemi, it's been a long time. We haven't had you on the pod. Hope all is well. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you. Thanks to you guys for your great job.
Babak, Pejman, good to have you guys back on.
Nice to be back, Pasha.
Alright, awesome. So the first discussion we want to talk about is obviously Iran's two friendly matches we had. On the 23rd of March, we played against Tunisia. On the 27th, if I'm not mistaken, against Algeria. So we want to touch upon the first game against Tunisia. For the listeners that are listening, our starting lineup against Tunisia was Bayram Van, Rezaian, Babak Queiroz's close friend, Khanzadeh, Cheshmi, Mohammadi, Shojaei, Karimi, Haj Safi, Ansari, Guchan Nejad, and Amiri. Mr. Hashemi, the first question I have for you is, a lot of the people on Twitter, when we first discussed about the lineup, they were very upset that why Mr. Queiroz has decided to choose this lineup instead of our strongest lineup. What are your thoughts about this? I thought it was more about him trying to test the players in different positions. Is there any different thoughts that you might have?
No, I think exactly what you thought. We don't have much time and too many games to the World Cup friendlies. And you see the last line, defenders. If you see the formation against Tunisia, you see that Ramin Rozayan, Khanzadeh, and Cheshmi, they are two central defenders of us. Because actually, I think if Jalal Hussein is fit and Mortaza Kurali Ganji are fit, they will play. But both of the players are not fit. And Pejman Montazeri was not 100%, and he needs something to try. And Khanzadeh and Cheshmi, they are two players they try. And if you talk about the midfield, Ali Karim is not old. Haj Safi is the important player for us on midfield. And Shojaei, you can say, okay, we have Shojaei, we have Saman Ghoddos, maybe other player who can play on 10. But I think Shojaei in his good form, in his good shape, is also important. And the attacking players, he has to try different player. It's the same. They are all good players, I think. But I think the trainer has to try, and he has to know his team for his first game. That's my opinion.
Babak, somebody that I know that you're very happy that it's back, and I think everybody's very happy that he's back, is Shojaei. I mean, me and you both, we couldn't watch this match, unfortunately, because we had the different obligations. But how vital of a player is Shojaei now that he's back in the starting line, especially that Ehsan Haj is out for a while?
Very much. He's got experience. He's actually found an Indian summer in his international career, because 4 years ago we had all written him off. But then after that, from the Asian Cup onwards, he's kind of found a new gear, a new lease of life. He's more consistent, makes a little bit less mistakes, takes a little bit less risks. Considering the World Cup and the system that we're probably going to play, I think we may see him a little bit deeper in the side as well, closer to Haj Safi, and we saw this over the two games, I think, especially the second game, where he came in a more deep central midfield role. So I think everyone in the side is happy he's back. With Ashkan Dejava also injured currently, and even if he comes back to fitness, I don't think he will be anywhere near his best, and he hasn't been for a long time. we need someone like Masoud in that squad.
Pejman, based off what Mr. Amir Hashemi said, ball back, what are your thoughts about the lineup and how vital of a role is Masoud going to have back into the team?
Well, Masoud is a leader, so even if he won't be his best as a football player, he can make the other players better. And Masoud, he's good as an offensive player when he attacks. He often gets free kicks. He makes the opponents get yellow cards. But also on the other hand, when he's more defensive, if he's going to play like a number 6 in the World Cup, he's also a guy that always gets a yellow card and always makes some less smarter tackles. So I'm still kind of worried, but I don't see anyone else taking that position today. But what's interesting about the lineup versus Tunisia, I think it showed that some players should be written off immediately for the World Cup. Mm-hmm. They're simply not ready or not good enough. And for me, those players are like Cheshmi, those players are Khanzadeh. I think even Amiri isn't a starter, or I don't think he should even be in the squad, to be honest. Uchanejad will probably be in the squad, but I can't see him as a starter right now. I see 3 or 4 strikers before him getting that striking position. So even if Iran lost 1-0 against Tunisia, I think we got some good answers that some players simply aren't up to that standards. And imagine Isco going one-on-one against Cheshmi. I mean, it would be a disaster every time for us. And I don't want to see that happen in the World Cup. We need much stronger players and much better team effort from everybody, to be honest.
We'll talk about our individual players and just the lineup after our discussion with the Algeria match. Mr. Hashemi, one of the African football experts, Maher Mizai, came on the podcast and he told us about how vital of a role Tunisia is gonna and how benefit it's gonna do for Iran in terms of, Morocco plays very compact. They're much more of a better side defensively, he mentioned to us, than Tunisia. What benefit did you see Iran playing against Tunisia?
Again, Iran didn't play well against Tunisia. I think we saw it, everyone saw it, because I think Iran did one thing good. It was a high pressure football, and that was without ball. You saw every time the player had the ball from Tunisia, we had three different players close to the zone of the ball. That was okay, but if Iran wanted to start building up or play or attacking, you didn't see the automatic pattern or some lines in our game, and that's normal because you play with almost 3-4 different players. They are just new, and you see even Gholizadeh plays, which I'm a fan of him, and Khanzadeh, Cheshmi, 2 very important players of you. They are your central defender. If you want to build up, the backs, right or left back, in my eyes, they are not the player. They have to build up. In my eye, the backs are to attacking. The backs are okay if you want to keep the ball position, but not for the build up. But the most important players are 2 different central defenders, but they are not experienced in national team. That's the reason we didn't play well against Tunisia.
Pejman, based off of what Mr. Amir Hashim Moghadam said, and looking at this Tunisia match, did you see any sort of benefits that we could take away from this, especially a side that plays so compact?
Of course. As Mr. Hashemi said, we have some interesting players both on the left and the right side. I myself is a big fan of both Milad Mohammadi and actually Ramin Rezayan. I think Ramin did really good in the game against Tunisia. I think he showed that he have improved not only as a build-up player, because I think he's done that pretty good before, but also as a defender. He made less mistakes. He didn't rush into anything, and he proved that he can be that he should be a starter on the right side. But yeah, our problem, or Iran's national team problem right now, is that we don't have many good options in the central defense and the central midfield, and that's a vulnerability that I'm sure our opponents in the World Cup will do their very best to take advantage of. So we need to make sure that they can't be left alone, or they can't be too exposed. We need both defensive good pressure, and also the offensive pressure must be smart. Just not just rush into something and hope that the pressure would be enough. So Queiroz has some work to do until the World Cup.
Now, before we start talking about the Algerian match, because it's fresh in our minds, and all of us, we watched this match, is Mr. Hashemi. Before the World Cup, I think everybody basically that watched Team Mendy's inside and out, that we could have all predicted that 4-3-3 was what Mr. Queiroz was going to implement. How vital of a role, for me personally, I would say the person that would click this team in the 4-3-3 will be Ehsan Haj Safi. How vital of a role do you think he will play going into the World Cup?
Haj Safi, in my eyes, I think he will play on 8, or we can say box-to-box player, because he has the ability to keep the ball. He has the ability. He has a good shot, and his experience. He can change the game, cross balls. And my idea is the best position for him is on 8, because the one thing Haj Safi doesn't have is a little bit difficult for him is the first 3 or 4 meters if he wants to defend. He's not very fast starters, and that's the reason I think he will play on 8, which means you take a risk out of the game if he's playing deeper, and number 6 can cover him up in his back. That's my idea, that Haj Safi will play on 8 from left.
Babak, I know you're a huge fan of Ehsan yourself. How big of a role, especially he played, I believe he was our man of the match against Algeria. How big of a role do you think he's going to play in a 4-3-3 for Queiroz's side?
I want to take you guys back to 4 years ago to the World Cup, and we were all talking about it in the post-match analysis and the post-tournament autopsy, let's say, and we all suggested that Ehsan Haj Safi is going to be our new central. He's going to be the heart and engine of the side going forward. And at that point, it was not so clear that Carlos would do that, but we felt there's no other option. And it's come true. Ehsan right now is a stable member of the starting lineup, a vital member, especially when you come back and tell, when Pejman was saying that right now there are question marks over the spine of the team. You look at the central defenders, we don't know about their fitness going forward. If Hosseini is not fully fit, or at his age you wouldn't expect him to play 3 games within 10 days or 12 days as well. So you have question marks over the central defender. I'm sure we're going to talk about the goalkeeper, who is in a little bit of a patchy form right now. So, and Sardar Azmoun up front, yes, he is scoring goals, but he's not going to give you more than 50 to 60 minutes at best, the way I've seen it over the last 4 years. So you have question marks over the whole spine. Said Ezzatollah is missing the first game as well. So you have Ehsan there. He is the vital cog that keeps everything together. His drive, his engine, his work rate, his tackling back, his tracking back, his link-up play with the attack. I think we saw all the best glimpses of his ability against Algeria. He's indispensable. For me, he is somehow also a captain material, and we've seen him wear the captain's armband in recent times as well. We need him to be fit, because otherwise we're going to have a huge issue over the central midfield, because you don't have legs there. Even if Said plays, Said's not the fastest or most mobile player. You have maybe Masoud, or in the number 10 role, maybe someone else. You don't see someone really contributing so much to both phases of play. So, like Mr. Hashemi said, he's going to be box-to-box, number 8, and he's going to be a huge... his form is going to dictate a lot about how we perform at the World Cup.
Yeah, definitely.
May I add something?
Yeah, of course.
Yes, I think the Mr. Queiroz has a piece now if he can put Haj Safi on 8 position, because not just Haj Safi is playing good. I think behind Haj Safi you have Milad Mohammed, which is one of my favorite players too, because his power of Milad and his positioning of Milad gives much more cover to Haj Safi, that gives much more freedom to Haj Safi. I think it would be a great combination between Haj Safi and Milad, and the space behind Haj Safi can be covered by the Milad.
Especially Milad Mohammadi has also been one of our most consistent players. Pejman, before we discuss about the Algeria match, is there anything you would like to add based off Milad Mohammadi and Ehsan Haj Safi?
No, nothing there. I think it can be a great duo in the World Cup and especially in the Asian Cup.
Now for part 2 of this discussion, we're going to be discussing the Algeria match. Let's talk about the Iran versus Algeria match because we all watched this match. For listeners, again, 4 players, I believe, from the last game retained their position. So for the listeners, this was our starting 11 versus Algeria. Beyramdan, Ghafouri, Montazeri, Khanzadeh, Aghai, Izzatullah, Haj Safi, Ansari Far, Jamabash, Taremi, and Azmoun. We won this match. I thought Iran played well. I would say our distribution wasn't the very best, but I was very surprised to see how well we did, especially counter-attacking. Well, Babak, the first question I have for you is, what did you take out of this match, especially considering the fact that what's interesting is Ansari Far, from what we also was playing as a number 8.
It was vital with the early goals. Our overall style of play somehow puts us under pressure to score the first goal in the game. It's very rare that we've seen us concede the goal, and even more so to imagine us coming back into a game after going behind. This is one of my biggest worries going into the World Cup. Our system, our style of play, our psychology is all based on keeping it tight and getting a goal. So against Tunisia, we saw that. We conceded a goal and we didn't get back into the game. And it's difficult for me to go back and try to remember too many games over the last 4 years where we conceded first. So on that front, it was vital. We got the first goal. In terms of Karim Ansari Fard, okay, we played a 4-3-3. He was much deeper than we'd ever seen him for the national team. I thought it was an interesting experiment. I'm not sure about number 8 because he's not so mobile to be a box-to-box, but he was a more, let's say, deeper number 10 maybe in that central midfield. So I thought he kept good movement, good control on the ball. He has a good understanding and vision of where the game is. It's too early to say that this is how he's going to play in the World Cup. Maybe he's going to be a number 10 and then come back deeper against Morocco on the first game, since we have a suspension in Izzatullah. So interesting experiment. Again, Queiroz does something a little bit out of left field that we probably didn't see coming, but more or less I think that cements Ansari Fard's spot in the squad. And we had this debate before with Sina as well. He felt Karim might be one of the people in danger of losing his spot in the squad. But I think this versatility, he can play on the left side of attack, he can play as a number 9 instead of Sardar, and now he can probably play as number 10 or a deep 10, then this probably cements his spot in the squad.
Pejman?
Well, Babak put it quite good. Ansari Fard showed that he can play in different positions when he's up front, and I'm sure that he will get some vital minutes in the World Cup. If not as a starter in one of the games, I'm sure he will play at least against Morocco from start, because I believe that Queiroz thinks that it suits him more. But what we saw against Algeria, or let me say this, what worried me about Algeria, if we're just going to talk about the less good things, is that that Queiroz still doesn't let any of the other goalkeepers play any games. I mean, what's the point of inviting players like Mazaheri and Hosseini if you're not going to give them minutes against teams like Algeria? I mean, the games against Sierra Leone, second half Hosseini came in, but that game was it was like Sierra Leone's B or C team. And what worried me even more is that despite having a new goalkeeping coach in Mr. Alessandro Lopez for our national team, Beyramdan continues once again to do his stupid mistakes, and you have to call them stupid now, because once a mistake, maybe 2 times a mistake, but if you do them several times, it's no longer a mistake. It's something that you simply haven't learned as a goalkeeper, and he's to blame for the Algerian goal 100%. And I'm sure if we're going to play in the World Cup, he will make some really crazy decisions that will not benefit him. He did it against Tunisia as well, Iran just got lucky that they didn't that there was opportunities didn't get into the goal. So I don't know. I'm not confident at all with Beirman being our number one, and he showed that even against Algeria when Iran won. So that's my biggest concern right now.
After what Mr. Hashimi has to say about the match, we'll discuss every positive and weaknesses within the team. Mr. Hashimi, what did you make out of our style of performance versus Algeria?
I saw the players from close and how they stay. I have to say first that Karim played on 10, not on 6, not on 8. And sorry for because the Izzatullah and Haj Safi, they played on 6 and 8, and Karim and Sarifan on 10. It wasn't a great game for whole game, 90 minutes, but I have seen very strong moments of Iran, which give us good hope. We saw. I saw much more combination between the players. That's very positive. I saw they wanted to play football, not just waiting and counter-attacking. We had a very strong counter-attacking. We had a very strong reaction football. Mm-hmm. There are many teams, they play reaction football. They wait, and the mistake of the opponent, they get the ball and they play. And what I saw, and it was very great to see, we had on two different sides, right and left side, after in the attacking a zone, triangles, right side Jahanbakhsh, Karim, Sardar, and left side Taremi, Sardar, and Karim. And it's very difficult to defend these players if they get a little bit of space. But what you say, what I understand, what also we have to think, what the important issue is, one of the central midfielders, 6, and I think our 6 will be Masoud Shojaei, and beside him will play Haj Safi. And right back, I think that for the right back position, Ghafouri had played not bad, good. Different between Ghafouri and Rezayan is look like much more elegant player. Ghafouri has much power, Mm-hmm. And I think that Mr. Queiroz will look at the games, which game has to play Ghafouri, which game has to play Rezayan. But central defense, it was very difficult because Khanzadeh plays right side central and Pejman Montazir left side, which is not the very good position for Pejman because he's right-footed, and he had to build up from left side. And even they tried Alay on the left side. He didn't play bad, but he didn't play very well. Alay, maybe because he has a very good right winger, Mahrez, and but what I saw, you see that second half, Shojaei comes in, plays on 6, and Milad Mohammadi plays just 20 minutes, and you see that the huge difference in our left side. Mm-hmm. If the left side is okay, and you have a piece also in right side. What I think about the keeper, I'm completely agree with Babak and Pejman. It doesn't match Iran. Beirman is not a bad keeper; he's a good goalkeeper, but he's not complete keeper, and he makes lots of mistakes. One of the mistakes, it's unfortunately the goal Algeria scored, and why the other keepers doesn't keep in that friendly matches. I'm afraid that Beirman will be the first keeper for World Cup, because I think that Carlos look at the experience of the players for the World Cup. I don't think that he will use another keeper. He didn't play huge games in Asian games or World Cup games, and I hope not just I'm from Istiklal, but I hope that Hosseini get a chance. He's a much completer keeper. And do not forget, if poor Ali Ganji is fit, you have a great left central defender, and then Carlos Queiroz can choose between Said Jalal or Pejman, right central defense. But I give for the game against Algeria, I think 7 to Iran. They didn't play bad, and don't forget Algeria is a very strong team. All the players playing around the world Premier League, but Iran can be much better. I'm also critic. I look at the trainer to the matches of Iran. There are lots of work to do for Carlos Queiroz, and I hope he can find a puzzle. And all much important thing is the trainer is always looking for the balance in his team. What I saw attacking area on Iran, I saw a great balance. I was very, very surprised once more. I saw Karim Ansari around 10. Mm-hmm. You have a scoring ability from the second line. And he also defends very well. I saw him many times in the box of Iran to defending and also in attacking area. I am optimistic about Karim on 10 position. That's my idea.
Thank you for the great comments, Mr. Hashimi. Now let's talk about, the different departments within this team, especially now the goalkeeper situation is going to be a hot debate. Babak, I know you're not Bayram Van's biggest fan, and especially what Pejman and Mr. Hashimi said, that why we're inviting, even Abid Zadeh just got invited back again. He didn't get his debut. Hosseini is in fantastic form for his club. You have Mazeri as well, but Bayram Van still gets his chance, especially that we want to, test different goalkeepers. What do you make out of the goalkeeper situation? And do you think that maybe potentially Hairi could come and retain back his position as starting goalkeeper with his new club?
Unfortunately, I think Harid's chances for the World Cup are 0. You don't drop probably your most experienced goalkeeper from the squad 6 months before the World Cup and don't give him another look in for 6 months and then bring him back into the game. It doesn't make sense. So for whatever reason, and me personally, I cannot believe it's just footballing reasons. It doesn't make sense. Haiti was in good form towards the end of the season. He was playing regularly. Yes, he didn't have a club now for a few months and the Swedish league starts up again. But at the very least, you want to have an experienced backup for Bayram Van at the very least. So that's point one about Haiti. I think it's too late for him. But don't forget, 4 years ago, a goalkeeping position, Haiti was unexpectedly thrown in at number 1 without almost any friendly experience either. Mm-hmm. So Queiroz could surprise us. But now the situation with Bayram Van is simple. He has not been in the best of form for the past year or so. His judgment on crosses is very, very poor. He comes out for no reason. He fumbles the ball quite a lot. And we saw that in I think it was first half, if I'm not mistaken, a long-range shot. It bobbled in front of him. It bounced off his chest. And luckily, it went out to a corner rather than right back into the box for a follow-up. So it's not just a goal, but he had a couple of moments where anything can happen. Overall, he's a great shot stopper. But at the World Cup, be sure, especially Morocco, they're going to be pumping in the balls into the box to try to take advantage of that. So now you have only games coming up in May, almost 1 month before the World Cup. At that stage, you want to try people like Hosseini or Mazahiri. You also have the risk of causing Bayram Van to lose more confidence, because a few weeks before the World Cup and you try to experiment and then your first choice goalkeeper might be frail or fragile in terms of confidence. He's going to be wondering, okay, am I good enough? Am I going to start, etc. So for Queiroz, I personally feel he should have experimented earlier. These were good games to try other keepers against Algeria, against Tunisia, maybe in a more meaningful way rather than Sierra Leone. I feel Bayram Van will be the number 1 choice. But now I'll ask you another question. What if Bayram Van gets injured and then you have 3 other inexperienced goalkeepers in the squad and Haiti out of the fold? You're going to call Haiti back into the team, or are you going to try a rookie basically at the World Cup? Situation is a bit worrying for me.
Pejman, based off of this goalkeeper situation and what Ballback's question, could you give us your thoughts, please?
I I wouldn't be so quick to write off Hariri just yet, to be honest. But yeah, let's play with the idea that they don't get injured. I don't. I hope he stay fit because we don't wish any players injuries. So let's be clear with that. But if he won't be able to make it, I'm sure the other players will be more than ready to take that place. And to be honest, I'm not that worried that they don't have that big of experience internationally. These players, they should be professional and even good enough to handle that kind of pressure. So maybe that will be Hariri's big chance, because Hariri will now play in the Swedish Allsvenskan that starts any day now. What will be troubling though, that in May, like the 11th of May against Syria and 18th against Uzbekistan, those are not FIFA days. So Hariri won't probably get invited. Or if he get invited, I doubt that his club, Sundsvall, will let him go. So that's 2 more games that Hariri won't be able to play. Then I think it's really important for Queiroz to show his ideas of who is number 2 for real. And that's a fight between now Mazaheri, even Lak, and Hosseini. We don't know, but as Babak said, he gave us a surprise in the last World Cup, and it turned out quite well because everybody was expecting Daniel Davari. I'm sure that the goalkeeping situation will get sorted out eventually. But right now, the shape Beirovan is in, I'm worried. But I'm confident that this will, in a magic way, turn out to the very, very best form.
Mr. Hashimi, if you could give us your thoughts, especially on, I just recently spoke to SRL's coach, Mr. Schaefer, and asked him which of these players he potentially thinks that could play in Europe, and without a hesitation, he said Hosseini. And it goes on to show you how much trust there is in this goalkeeper, and he's just doing phenomenal in the league. Some crazy minutes he hasn't conceded. What do you make out of the goalkeeping situation? Do you think potentially that Queiroz might somehow give a chance to another goalkeeper to test out?
Yes, I think the problem is, I understand, and also I agree that maybe Hariri has to be by national team, but he didn't play a lot. And on the other hand, I think what Mr. Queiroz will do is almost the same he will do with Saman Ghoddos, and he has done with Ali Reza. Hosseini, I'm sure, no doubt, will be the first keeper in Asian Cup. And but I think I agree with the guys. If Beirovan gets injured or getting sick, ill, somebody else has to stay in the goal. And I hope, and I think we have 3 or 4 games before the World Cup. We have anyway Turkey and Greece, Uzbekistan, and maybe another one. And I hope that he will, or another keeper will get the chance to do that. But and about the Europe players and Mr. Schäfer, he's right. Hossein is the great goalkeeper, but you have to see which country. I think you know it much better. You cannot never offer Hossein to England. Mm-hmm. The first thing they ask is the goalkeeper 195 or not. You know, that depending on the country, depending on how they play. In Italy, you need the keeper that he just can catch the ball. In Holland, or you need the keeper he can play as the libero. You know, it's much different. But how I see Hosseini, he's a great keeper. He can keep very easy in Netherlands or in Germany and in Belgium. And there are more players they can play in Europe, no doubt. So, and Hossein is saved with many points for Estella this season, and we will see. I hope you know Carlos is an experienced trainer, Carlos Queiroz, and sometimes he will come with many surprises, and yes. And you never know that.
Yes, definitely. Now let's talk about the defending department, which Mr. Hashmi pointed out that, you know, depending on the match, we don't know if the starting right back is going to be Rezaian or Ghafouri. And what I was really disappointed, I mean, I might be kind of harsh, is I still believe Cheshmi is still going to get invited to the national team because of the center back depth of center back issue we have. But I was very disappointed in Khanzadeh, and I think with the two matches that he started, I think Queiroz was pretty much giving him a trial to see if he's needed. Babak, what did you make out of the defending department, especially with Khanzadeh and Aghai starting? And it seems like Aghai potentially could be Milad Mohammadi's backup going to Russia.
To be honest, we don't. You said it right. We don't have so much depth in the central defense area. If you have to pick 4 players, you probably have Montazeri, Hosseini, Pourali Ganji +1, which is probably going to be Cheshmi, unless he wants to take 5. So, logically speaking, Khanzadeh, considering 2 of the central defenders were injured, he was going to get a chance here to prove himself, as Cheshmi has had quite a few chances in the recent months. So I was disappointed with him. I don't see him at this level. He shouldn't be near the squad. But when you are in a position where you don't have the options, then you're limited to try to work with the ones you do have. So he may go to the World Cup, but I think we'll go with 4 players, and Cheshmi will be the 4th one. The biggest issue is when Jalal Hosseini doesn't play, even if Pourali Ganji is playing, there's a little bit of a, let's say, leadership issue in that defense. There's a little bit of coordination, communication, etc. And it's vital that Hosseini is fit for me. It's even if he's not going to get all 3 games, it's vital that he's fit and plays next to his partner, probably Pourali Ganji. In terms of Aghai, I was disappointed, but when you take into context you're playing against Riyad Mahrez and you're probably one of your first games for the national side, you take that into perspective. Maybe it was early day jitters for him and he will only learn from it and get better. He wasn't abysmal, but he wasn't anything memorable either to say that yes, he definitely should be going to the World Cup. But again, you have options, limited options, and I would rather have the option of having Aghai there than pulling back Ehsan Haj Safi and then having a big hole in our central midfield. So taking that into account, I think Aghai will probably go to the World Cup as Milad's backup.
Yes, something that Babak just mentioned. Maybe a surprise would be that Ehsan going to the left side, taking Mohammadi's place, and Mohammadi will play in the central defense next to Hosseini or Pourali Ganji. They will have a strong left side, but our defensive midfield would be even weaker. But maybe we will change tactics or way of formation that our central defense won't be so much, be as important as before. So because we can probably, I guess, expect a lot of rushes from the left and the right side coming when Morocco or even Spain and Portugal are playing. But if we have a strong left side with Ehsan and Mohammadi, that will be difficult. Then we will have a weaker right side with Rezaian there, or maybe even Ghafouri. So then we will make sure that our central defenders will help the right side much more. But that's just a thought. Ehsan have been really strong in the central midfield these 2 games, and he's doing good in Greece, where he actually plays at the left side. So I don't see that option off the table just yet. But since we lack in depth in the central defense and central midfield, maybe we will start to what Babak just said. But it's just an idea.
Mr. Hashemi, if you could give us your thoughts about the defending situation with the players that started.
I agree with the guys. Khanzadeh, you don't have to expect too much of him. He's just invited. He plays just a test game, I think, and he will not play. And Cheshmi is between central defender and central midfield. He's not made for both positions, Mm-hmm. With Cheshmi, you have to play. You have to see each game how you have to play. But once more, we make a big issue at this moment. Let's be positive and let's think that Said Jalal is fit, Montazeri is fit, and Pourali Ganji is fit, and we have 3 very, very good central defenders. If Said Jalal cannot play, we can use Montazeri right central and Pourali Ganji left central. Of course, Montazeri is not his nature a leader, but he has experience, and I think we have three central defenders. They have to be chosen by. I think the left side is Purali Ganji. Between the right side is between Said Jalal and Montazeri. Khanzada and Cheshmi, maybe they go to World Cup. I think I see the chance much more for Cheshmi to the World Cup than Khanzada, because Cheshmi, you can use Cheshmi also on central midfield, in the sixth position sometimes. And Milad Mohammadi, no doubt, is the best one. And Ghafouri or Rami Rezayan. I see both right backs their own quality. They have their own specific power. One is more football player, another one is much powerful. And I'm sure Mr. Queiroz will look at each game and they'll let them play. And please don't forget, we don't have much good central defenders in Iran. And if he invite Khanzadeh, he's one of the better player in Iran. and he needs something extra, of course, Mr. Queiroz.
Right.
That's what I think about our defending. Yes?
Definitely. All right, let's talk about the midfield situation. Then we're going to talk about our attackers. Then we have a few general questions from Twitter. Is that at Pajam, send us a question from Twitter. Thank you for your question. I'd like to hear you discuss the central midfield situation against Morocco. I'm going to start this off with Pejman, especially considering that Said Azatollah won't start our first match.
Yeah, well, we mentioned before who will play next to Ehsan, because I'm sure that Ehsan will be one of those players. Most probably it will be Masoud Shojaei playing next to him, which makes that Masoud is one of the more, he will play much more offensive, be the first one that puts the pressure, and we'll see Ehsan be like sweeping the ball and be the box-to-box player. But then we have interesting players on left and right side, and maybe that's one of Iran's strengths in the midfield and also in the attacking position, because Jahanbakhsh, Iran's by far best player right now, will probably start on the right side. And I was really, really happy to see that he finally could play the way he plays in Asad Akmar in the national team as well, putting pressure from the right side, running, giving great crosses, and that was how the goal for Azmoun also was created. So at the right side, we're 100% sure that we will see Jahanbakhsh. On the left side, we have some good options. Taremi, he does well in the national team. You can say whatever you want about his personality, about the way he talks or his decisions for moving to Qatar, but he gets good results on the Queiroz, so I'm sure he can be one of those players starting on the left side. If not, I'm not so keen on Amiri. I would maybe rather see Kaveh Rezai. You can even see Karim Ansarifard or even Saman Ghoddos. If not, Saman or Karim will play as a number. I think we have some good options in the midfield. That's Iran's strength in the World Cup.
Babak, a player that we all are very interested to see where Mr. Queiroz is going to start. Saman Ghoddos, potentially where he's going to play him. Right now, it's not too sure, especially with the 4-3-3. We know Jahanbakhsh has secured his right spot. And for me personally, I think Taremi will be our left wing spot. But we have a question from at the Farbot, and he said it doesn't appear that CQ is in favor of using Ghoddos as a 10. He tried Ansarifard, but it didn't work. It's looking more and more like Ghoddos will be the primary backup for both Taremi and JB on the wings. I think this is a mistake. He's one of our best players. What do you make out of those comments, Babak?
First of all, I think it's all about perspectives. I think the four of us may have seen Karim Ansarifard looking in a more positive light against Algeria rather than the person who asked this question. So I thought the experiment as a first step was okay for Ansari Farhat. He showed glimpses of what can be. I would probably try it again before I write him off. In terms of Saman, before the pod we were having a chat and Mr. Hashemi said this, and I was actually thinking of this during the game when I saw Ghoddos come on very late. 4 years ago, we had the same feeling about Alireza Jahanbakhsh. He looked like the next big thing. We could see that he would be a vital member of the side going forward, and we all wanted him to start at the World Cup, but he only got 15, 20 minutes a game. He showed glimpses of what is to come. I have a feeling that Saman Ghoddos, to have that option is great. I think someone needs more time. The main thing is for him to be patient and also for Carlos to believe in him. But we can all see this guy is a quality player, and going forward in the national team, he will be a vital member. Just to add to what Pejman mentioned about Jahanbakhsh, I also felt exactly the same way. For a long time, we've seen him in Holland, and we feel it's just not clicking in the same way, and you sometimes felt he's trying too much at Team Melli. This game was one of his best games in the national side for me. He looked confident. He looked like the go-to player for us. He had the beating of the opponent all the time. He made the right decisions. He didn't overdo it as well. Sometimes he kept it simple. Sometimes he had nice 1-2s and link-up play with Sardar or Karim, etc. So I thought it was very, very positive. And if he continues this way and takes the same club form and, let's say, psychology into the national side, into the World Cup, I think we have a very, very, very important player, maybe on par with Sardar when you consider Sardar's goals.
Mr. Hashemi, if you could just give us your thoughts and about the midfield situation, please.
Yes, I think the guys had said everything are also very good. I think my idea is if you have to start with Morocco, that's the true final for us. I think if we win against Morocco, we have a very, very big chance to go to the second round. And I think against Morocco, you can put different midfielders against Morocco, and but my feeling is the trainer is looking not just individual players, how they play. Mr. Queiroz is looking for the right balance in his team. And I am confident, not 100% of course, because we have to see much more games, that he has found his midfield and attackers. I think that he will start with Shojaei and Ansari Farhat and Haj Safi on midfield, and also right Jahanbakhsh, left side Taremi, and the target man will be Sardar. But please don't forget, we don't talk too much about Queiroz, which is a wonderful player. And we are talking about the top scorer of Greece, Karim Ansari Farhat, top scorer of Belgium, Charleroi, Queiroz, good Sardar Azmoun, one of the top scorers of Netherlands, Alireza, and Taremi is top scorer of his club in a very short time. And we have lots of possibilities, and many countries are jealous of Iran. I'm sure about it. I've started the game with one of the Dutch colleague of me in Graz, Iran, Algeria. He told me many countries will be jealous of your attacking possibilities, and this is what I saw also there. But the most important thing is there are not that individuals. We have to. Trainer has to find the correct balance and to make the puzzle complete. And about Saman Ghoddos, absolutely right. I think it will be for him the World Cup of experience. He will be very good back up for or midfield or attacking players. But I don't think someone will play in attacking positions, because what I know from Mr. Queiroz, he will use the attacking players in the close to the box of opponents, the players they can score and fight easily. someone can score, but someone is not a fighter. And they need someone to make a war in this. Carlos Queiroz is the Portuguese trainer, and they like to make a war each game. They like the contact, and someone is not that type of player. That's the reason I think we will give the space to someone on midfield to play behind the attackers, but it will be for someone, I think, 10, 15, 20 minutes each game in World Cup. And he's a great player. I like his the way he's playing. I like his personality. He's a very good guy. But please don't forget. I think in the beginning of the program, someone said Sardar Azmoun will play 50 or 60 minutes each game, which is it's okay. I think because we have Kaveh Rezai. If Kaveh doesn't play there, we can put someone on number 10, and we can put Karim Ansariva in as a target man. There are different of options. We don't have to be worried about attacking abilities or qualities of Iran. We can score against every team, but the most important thing is that we can find a balance in the defensive way. If you look at the combination and one-touch football of Spain, we have to find a way how we can play against them, against the way they play. And Morocco is different than Spain. Morocco, they play at the ball. They love the ball, and it's good for Iran because we can play against this kind because we are physically much stronger. But Portugal is all between Morocco and Spain. We can also win against Portugal. We have to go for win against Portugal, not just for the draw. But Spain, everybody can lose against Spain. Spain has different quality, and I am very, very confident about our abilities, about our qualities for attacking way we have. If we play reaction football, we have a good counter-attack. If we play on field of opponent, we have also good attacking players.
Thank you, Mr. Hashemi, for your points, and thank you guys for your time. We have 3 final questions from social media. One of them, which is at Milos_Sportske, and he has a question about what are our thoughts about what Mr. Carlos Queiroz said. So, for the listeners, this is what Mr. Carlos Queiroz said. The 2 friendly games clearly show that we are far from where we need to be. It's tough to hear, but I have to be honest. We need special training for our domestic players. They need a special 40 days program. What is important, the Persian Gulf League or World Cup? So this is a statement from our coach, the manager, Mr. Queiroz himself. Babak, what do you make out of the comments from Coach?
I think no matter what happened, this was a scheduled statement from Carlos Queiroz 2 months before the final preparation for the World Cup. Yes, he's right. The difference between the domestic players and the European-based players, you can see how much more sharp they are compared to the guys who are playing domestically. At the same time, he was going to say this regardless because he wants to have that 40-day camp. It's up to the players themselves to also pressurize their clubs because it's a dream to play at the World Cup. I would say in a country like Iran, yes, the World Cup is the peak of any footballer's or the nation's aspirations. So I would have liked to have scheduled this from the beginning of the season. Even in countries like England, they consider how they could give their national team a better chance by maybe finishing the league a little bit earlier in the World Cup year. So they'll be done at the end of April or just at the beginning of May. So the Iranian Football Federation and the league authorities should try to facilitate this. Otherwise, the only losers will be Iranian football at the end of the day.
Pejman, is there any thoughts you'd like to add?
Just final quotes or something Mr. Hashemi said, that we have a lot of good opportunities in the front. And that's right, because when I was at the press conference after Iran Sierra Leone, in the press conference after Iran versus Sierra Leone, Carlos Queiroz said that we have, look at us 4 or 5 years ago, we only had Reza Qutchanedad as our single striker, and everybody was really crazy happy about that. Today, we have 4 or 5 different strikers that are really good that I can choose from. And it's the same thing about the goalkeeping situation. We have 4 or 5 different goalkeepers that I can choose from. So, as Mr. Hashemi said, a lot of countries should be jealous of the amount of good attackers Iran have. So, Uchanejad might not even be in the squad, Who knows? That's how good Iran's attacking play have become. So we should be happy about that as well. That was all.
Mr. Hashemi?
Your question was about the condition of the players of Iran, I believe.
Yes.
The playing in Iran. Yes. Yeah, it's not difficult. Mr. Queiroz has 100% is true what he says. Because in Iran, with lots of respect, we play local competition, and is not a very high level of condition. I mean, football is okay, but if you look at the matches in Iran, you played against Jamegan or you play against other club. And if you go further, maybe you play some of players playing also Asian Cup, but you see also in Asian club cups, the players, they have a problem already. If the opponent is faster, if the opponent has the very fast combination football, and we have a problem. But I don't know why they don't understand that, trainers in Iran. We do not play against Al Ahly or Al Rayyan. We will play against teams as Spain and against Isco, Iniesta. We play against teams who Ronaldo playing in that team, which means the condition and the physical condition of the players is 10 times more important than what we see in Asian level. We have to compare that with the world level, not the Asian level. And I don't understand some of the trainers, Branco, and he says always many things without thinking about that. He even says the name of the players, which I don't think is correct. I hope that Iran Football Federation do something about that, because he said something about Karim Ansari, Sardar Azmoun, Taremi, Mm-hmm. He's not allowed to do that. I think the most important thing is that if Mr. Queiroz is in Iran, the trainers of the clubs, they make some meeting to see how they can help each other. And because it's not like that Iran every World Cup will be in World Cup. Accidentally, we are now the second time we are in World Cup, but we need to know. Everybody has to know we are going to play much higher level and much higher physical condition of the players. Physical condition is not just to be strong. Physical condition is to have an ability to turn left or right, to have a mobility, to be mobile. For first 3 meters, for 20 meters, is the ability to have everything. It's the complete package of the physical condition. Is not just to be strong. That's the difference between the highest level in Europe or world and Asian. And I hope they can work it out. I hope that the trainers and the Mr. Queiroz can sit together, have a meeting, to find a way to make players stronger, which is also good for their clubs. If they get stronger, and the clubs get stronger players back. Mm-hmm. And this is something Football Federation has to do, and I hope they will do that.
Thank you, Mr. Hashemi. The final question I have for everyone, and thank you again for your time, is that we have a question from contributor of Gold Bezan, Arya Alaverdi. And the question he has is, can you tell us your favorite starting 11, assuming that formation will be a traditional 4-3-3 in the World Cup? I'm going to start this off with Pejman.
Well, yeah, I think it's 4-2-3-1, but it doesn't matter. Goalkeeper, I would like to say Hariri. From left to right, Mohammadi, Hosseini, Poulali Ganji, Rezaian. our two defensive midfielders, Haj Safi. Next two, this is a tough one. Ezatollah is off the first game, so I'll go with Karimi. And from left to right again, on the left side, I actually want to see Taremi. Number 10, I'll see Ghoddos. On the right side, Jahan Bakhsh. On top, Azmoun.
Mr. Hashimi?
I will go, if I'm a trainer, for Hossein in the goal. And Rezayan from right, Jalal Hosseini, je say Jalal Hosseini, and Pour Ali Ganji, two central defenders, Milad Mohammadi left, Shojaei and Haj Safi, two control players on midfield, or 6 or 8, and Karim Ansari for on 10, Jahan Bakhsh right. I go between Sardar and Kaveh, one of these two in target man. And left side, Taremi.
Baba, give us your most pessimistic lineup.
I'm going to go with the realistic, what we would expect, although I would probably make one change in goal. I think Bayram Band will start, but I would rather have Alireza Hairi there. From left to right, it would be Mohammadi, Pour Ali Ganji, Hosseini, and I think in the first game it can be Kafuri, and then in other games we may have Rezayan or vice versa. I really feel they will interchange at the World Cup. We'll have Haj Safi as a mainstay in central midfield, next to probably in the first game Shojaei, but I think Said will come into that spot. And then number 10, I think in the first game, as it's very important, we may have Karim Ansari based on what we saw. In other games, we may have Masoud starting there. On the left side, Taremi, Sardar as the undisputed number 9. At least for the first 60 minutes, and then Alireza Jahan Bakhsh on the right. I would like to see someone given a chance at the number 10 as we move into the World Cup, rather than, let's say, instead of Alireza Jahan Bakhsh. I really feel that on the counter, someone, Alireza, Taremi, Sardar, they could be very lethal, especially against the two sides that will peg us back like Spain and Portugal.
Thank you guys so much for your time. Mr. Hashimi, we'll definitely have you on more. Thank you as always for your time. And is there any last final points you guys would like to say?
Thank you guys, and let's be positive, and we have to be behind our national team. That's what I want to say.
Definitely. Thank you. Babak Pejwan, is there any last final points?
It was always, as usual, it was great to be on. Like Mr. Hashimi said, we need to be optimistic. I have a good feeling, and I don't usually have those, but I have a good feeling. And I think the World Cup final for us is against Morocco. Like Mr. Hashimi said, if we win that, it's a must that we have to get 3 points.
That concludes our discussion that we had with Babak Ghoddos, Pejman Pars, Mr. Amir Hashim Moqaddam. We hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you so much for sending us your questions. We've done, I think, a fabulous job so far by doing the best as we could to spread the word around Iranian football to the globe. Your support is crucial for us. If you could please subscribe to us on iTunes, give us a review, check out the website. All our content is there. Let people just know such a thing exists. You could contact us at goldbazanpodcast.com. Our Twitter is goldbazan, Facebook goldbazan, and our email address is mail@goldbazanpodcast.com. However, if there's for whatever reason you guys wanted to message one of the directors, personally, all our information is up on the website. As always, we appreciate the support. Thank you, folks.